There are over 60 million people living in South Africa, and each one has a story. Our story began in 1979. A group of activist lawyers wanted to challenge apartheid laws, and so the Legal Resources Centre was born. In 1980, we won the Komani case, which helped to liberate Black South Africans from the atrocious past system. The LRC went on to play an important role in dismantling unjust apartheid laws. In 1994, South Africa became a democratic country, and we pledged our services to upholding the new Constitution and Bill of Rights. Since its conception, the LRC has provided free, expert, and compassionate legal services to individuals and has given many ordinary South Africans the resources to stand up to injustice. Our vision: a democratic, accountable, and transparent society in which equitable and inclusive access to justice, dignity, and human rights are lived realities for all.
The LRC has been a defender of human rights for over 40 years. We've had quite a journey over the past 4 decades. Today we are proud that our team of over 50 lawyers and activists work with communities across South Africa and beyond. We work with partners and marginalized communities to harness the power of the law to promote social justice, fight for equality, and advance human rights with a focus on education, land, legacy, and advocacy. It's been 40 years, but we believe that our work has just begun. Every case and each claimant is important.
The story of one claimant has the power to change millions of lives.
My name is Sepesihle Mguga. I come from Ekomani, formerly known as Queenstown, in the Eastern Cape. The Eastern Cape is famous for a number of things, but the one thing that I'm excited to share is our annual celebration of the arts. It's an event called the National Arts Festival. It takes place here in Makanda. This year it starts on the 22nd of June and finishes on the 2nd of July. A bit about myself. I hold 2 degrees. The first one is a Bachelor of Arts in Film and Media from the University of Cape Town, and the second one is an LLB degree from the University of South Africa. I have been with the LRC for 4 years now. Before that, I used to work at the Rhodes University Law Clinic. I am the co-lead of the Legacy program, and I also work in the 2 other programs, which is in land and education. The work that I'm particularly excited about at the moment is my literacy work. The team in that work area seeks to make early grade reading a national priority reflected through legislative reform. One of the ways that we have identified to do this is to compel the Minister of Basic Education to promulgate binding reading regulations. This is because South Africa is facing a literacy crisis. On the 16th of May, Pearls revealed that 81% of grade 4 learners in South Africa cannot read for meaning in any language. This is up from the 78% in 2016. So we believe that by promulgating these binding reading regulations, it is going to improve literacy outcomes in the country. Thank you.
My name is Kamal Daniel Harvey. I'm from Cape Town in the Western Cape province of South Africa. Our province is famous for wine farms and therefore wine tasting. I'm from here in Cape Town. I went to university at the University of Cape Town. I have a Bachelor of Social Science with Justice and Transformation Honours, and I have a Bachelor of Laws. I've worked at the LRC for 5 months and a couple of days. Before that, I was a student and an intern at the LRC, as well as at the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation. While I was a student, I was a transformation representative of the Law Student Council. At the LRC, I'm a candidate attorney, and one of the cases that I'm particularly interested in, that I'm working on, is the case against the Royal Bafokeng administration. They purport to represent the community in that area, and they are trying to have the land in that area transferred into their name. What was found out pretty early on in the case is that they actually haven't consulted any of the communities in that area and haven't taken their interests into account. And so what we're doing is we're representing some of those communities in opposition to that application and hoping to get it stopped so that those communities' interests and voices are heard.
This is Kristen. I'm from Johannesburg, which is a city in the province of Gauteng. My province is famous for very fast-paced lifestyles, so not a lot of scenic views or mountains to look at, but lots of traffic. Also, a bustling nightlife, so bars and clubs on many streets throughout the city, very good restaurants too. And good universities, one of which I attended, which was the University of the Witwatersrand, where I got my honors degree in English literature and then very recently graduated with a Bachelor of Laws. I've been at the LRC for just over 5 months now, and before this, I worked in civil society in a space dedicated to strengthening democracy in South Africa. I'm a candidate attorney at the LRC, and one of the most interesting things I'm working on now is an application for us to be admitted as amicus. And the gist of our submission is that decision makers, when taking administrative action, should be obliged in law to conduct human rights impact assessments and then make those decisions or take those actions in light of the outcomes of those assessments. Lovely to speak to you. Bye-bye.
My name is Kiara Govender and I am from Durban, which is in the KwaZulu-Natal province. One thing that our province is famous for is the annual sardine run, which you can experience along the south coast of KwaZulu-Natal. It is the only animal phenomenon that is visible from space. I attended university at the IIE's Varsity College, where I obtained a Bachelor of Laws degree. I've worked at the LRC for the past 5 months as a candidate attorney. It is my first job since graduating, and before that, I worked as a student librarian. One matter we are working on in the Durban office that is particularly interesting is facilitating alternative dispute resolution between a state-owned port company and a group of small-scale vegetable farmers who provide food security to marginalized communities in the south of Durban. The farmers currently occupy land that is owned by the company, and their occupancy of this land is under threat.
My name is Kieran Rutch. I'm from Durban in the KwaZulu-Natal province. Our province is famous for its amazing weather all throughout the year. We have beautiful beaches all along our coast with lovely warm water. I'm sure we're the envy of the rest of the country. I studied at the University of Cape Town. I first went for a Bachelor of Social Science before completing my law degree. I started at the LRC immediately after graduating, and I've been here for about 1.5 years now. I am currently a candidate attorney, and after 2 years of being a candidate attorney, I will qualify as an attorney. An interesting case that I'm currently involved in is what we refer to as the Kabwe matter, which involves a community in the town of Kabwe from Zambia that have suffered significant harm to their bodies and to the environment due to lead poisoning in the environment, which has been caused by a local lead mine. They are approaching the South African court system in the form of a class action case, looking for damages from the mine for the harm that they've suffered. Needless to say, this case has significant implications for these large multinational companies that operate around the globe in developing areas specifically and do not pay much mind to the damage that they cause to the environment and to communities after their operations are finished. The LRC are representing a number of United Nations special procedures in this case, and thus far we have put a number of arguments before the court as to why this class action should be certified. If the case is certified, then it will proceed to the second part of the case, which will actually hear the merits of the damages claim and whether the class action will be successful.
My name is Sadia Kadwa. I come from Durban, from the province of KwaZulu-Natal. KwaZulu-Natal means place of the Zulu, and my province is most famous for its warm beaches and beautiful scenery. I went to the University of KwaZulu-Natal and got my Bachelor's of Law degree. In 2019, I joined the LRC as a candidate attorney and completed my articles of clerkship. I have been with the LRC for approximately 4 years, and I currently work as an attorney in the Cape Town office. A case that I am most interested in working on is the Mwelase case. I find this case interesting because it's one of LRC's long-standing matters in which the Constitutional Court ordered that a special master be appointed to supervise, monitor, and oversee the implementation of the Land Reform Labour Tenants Act by the Department of Rural Development and Land Reform. The reason this order was made was because the department had previously failed for 2 decades to implement and process those land claims. Another reason this is an interesting matter is because this case is at the stage where the matter needs to be implemented, and it highlights the various difficulties and challenges that we face once a court has granted an order. Secondly, a special master has previously never been appointed in South Africa. So this is a new concept in South African law, and it is interesting to see how that will unfold. Thank you.
My name is Cecile van Skalkwyk. I am an attorney at the Legal Resources Centre's office in Makanda in the Eastern Cape. I think Makanda is probably most famous for some donkeys, a few potholes, and then the National Arts Festival. It's sort of a yearly festival where all artists across South Africa come together. There's plays, there's a jazz festival, there are loads of fun and loads of cultural activities for everyone to participate in. I went to university in the Western Cape. I went to the University of Stellenbosch, where I did my undergrad and my postgrad and my LLM actually in law. And before I worked at the Legal Resources Centre, I was a student. So I've worked at the LRC my entire life. I started there in 2016 as a candidate attorney, and I've stayed on as an attorney since then, which I've been very fortunate to do and I've really enjoyed. And here at the LRC, I basically work in litigation, mostly sort of litigation advocacy around land rights and around education. One of the cases that I'm working on at the moment that I think is really interesting and will have quite a large scale impact on education in the Eastern Cape is that we are trying to review and set aside a decision by the Eastern Cape Provincial Education Department to effectively underfund schools in the Eastern Cape for the 2023-2024 academic year. And part of that challenge will be a constitutional challenge to the funding model that is used to fund education in the province. And if we are successful, it will have a large-scale impact on funding across the provinces, but it will also have a very immediate impact on how the Eastern Cape will be funding schools going forward for 2023-2024.
My name is Tsukuru Mureng. I am from Johannesburg, which is in the Gauteng province in South Africa. An interesting thing about the Gauteng province is that it is the smallest yet the most densely populated province in the country. Another interesting thing is that it's home to the Constitutional Court and it's home to the union buildings, so a very vibrant province. I graduated with my BA degree, Bachelor of Arts, my LLB degree, which is a Bachelor of Laws, and my LLM degree in Contract Law, which is a Master of Laws. After my graduation, I became a teaching and research assistant, and then I transitioned into a lecturer where I lectured at the Rhodes University Law Faculty for a short stint of 1 year. I then became a part-time lecturer while I was doing an internship at the LRC. And after that, that's when I came into the LRC. I have been at the LRC for about 2.5 years. I started as a candidate attorney, and now I'm a trainee attorney. One of the interesting things cases that we are working on now is a case involving public school infrastructure in Limpopo. And what the infrastructure team in the LRC is trying to do is to establish some new principles around the state's obligation to conduct human rights impact assessments when they take any decisions that impact on the human rights of learners in South Africa. So I'm very excited about that case, and we definitely hope it goes well. Thank you.
My name is Muyanga Mugera Sekuabe. I'm an attorney at the Legal Resources Centre based in the Cape Town office. I'm initially from East London in the Eastern Cape, and the Eastern Cape is famous for being the birthplace of Nelson Mandela, so that would be our claim to fame. I came to Cape Town in 2013 to study a Bachelor of Social Science degree. After that I did a Bachelor of Laws, and after that I did a Master of Laws. I've been working at the LRC since January of 2022, so yeah, about 1.5 years into the job, and really enjoying my time here. Really enjoying the LRC family dynamic that we have in the office. So I would like to tell you about one of the cases that I'm most interested in. That would be a case involving the changing of gender markers for trans and gender diverse individuals from male to female, or even having a third gender option. Currently, the way that the South African legislation is set up, it makes it extremely difficult for transgender and gender diverse individuals to make these changes. And this has lots of knock-on effects relating to housing, employment, and healthcare as well. So this case is still in its preliminary stages, but very much looking forward to how the litigation is going to progress. And hopefully you will see through our social media challenges how the case goes forward.
My name is Philmine Wickham. I come from Bellville in the Western Cape. Our province is famous for snoek, which is fish caught on the west coast that we eat with apricot jam. I went to university first, University of Stellenbosch, where I studied drama and literature, and then did an honours and a master's in philosophy. Then I studied law through UNISA and did a master's in law at the University of Pretoria. I've worked at the LRC for about 12 years now. Before that I did a lot of things, including teaching and research at the African Union. Here at the LRC I am one of the leads of the land program. And one case I'm working on that I think is very interesting is a case that we call the tribal levies case, and this concerns traditional communities in South Africa. 22 million South Africans still live in traditional communities in the former homelands, and in most of these communities they are forced to pay taxes by their traditional authorities. And if you don't pay the tax, you can't bury a family member, you can't get an ID, so you can't get a social grant, you basically have no citizenship rights. So we are working on a case to have the practice of tribal taxes declared unconstitutional.